Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. Today we are going to do a very special thing. I'm going to review all the books I have read this year up till now and talk about them. So let's begin. These are all the physical books I read this year up till now, and so I'll talk about the physical books first and then I'll go into the ebooks I have read. So the first book I have here is Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. This book was given to me by one of my good friends on Instagram. She was actually unhauling few of her books and this one was lucky enough to be mine. What? This book I read I guess in May, and it's basically about Gregor and how he turns into a life-size bug one random morning. So this book talks about the dilemma that we face in our society. Our society is a place where if we don't contribute, we are not considered important. In this book, we see Gregor going through the difficulties of becoming a bug, literally, and his family kind of confused of what to do. Like they are confused of what actions they must take to keep Gregor in comfort but also find a solution. So we find them being sympathetic, trying to feed him, making sure that he is warm and comfortable, cleaning his room and keeping everything tidy. But slowly through the passage of time, when they realize that Gregor is not going to be any more human, they start hating him because he is causing a lot of problems in their household. Because of him, there is no earning in the house. His father has to now again take up the job. His mother has to do small tasks to get money, and his younger sister has to leave her school and do household activities. That's why they start hating Gregor, and we can see the shift in emotions in the family. So this book basically tells us that even if it's your own blood, they will turn their back when you are no more important. I found this book very intriguing. I even marked a few quotes. So there is this one paragraph that I marked in the book which describes the book in the best way possible, and that is, "It's got to go," shouted his sister. "That's the only way, father. You have got to get rid of the idea that that's Gregor. We have only harmed ourselves by believing it for so long. How can that be Gregor? If it were Gregor, he would have seen long ago that it's not possible for human beings to live with an animal like that, and he would have gone off his own free will. We wouldn't have a brother anymore then, but we could carry on with our lives and remember him with respect." So here the sister who used to love Gregor so much and actually did so much in the initial stages of his transformation is saying that that's not anymore her brother, and she is very sure of it. Even though Gregor can feel, see, understand everything they are talking about, they are not ready to believe that it's their child or it's her brother. So she is just wanting to get rid of that thing or Gregor and live her life again. I gave it a 5 stars. Now I will say that this is a maybe if I want to recommend it to someone, because this is completely something that is up to your taste. Next read is More Days at the Morisaki Bookshop by Satoshi Yagisawa. Now this is the part 2 for Days at the Morisaki Bookshop, which I loved. And so I obviously had to buy this one. So this book or this series is based in Japan, and we get to see beautiful scenery of Japan and the old streets and old used bookshops, basically a very cozy area. And then we have our female protagonist Takako, who is here to visit her uncle's bookshop. So that is the Morisaki Bookshop. So this story continues the part 1 where she gets to find her own self by living in this bookshop, and now she comes to visit and help her uncle run the bookshop again. So this is the continuation, and there are many sad endings, many new starts, new beginnings, new friendships, old friendships, everything included in this book. And this book personally felt a lot to me because here the author talks about the death of someone close, which is something I related to a lot at that time when I read it, and that is something that stuck to me. So that's why I gave it this a 5-star rate, because there are so many things in this book that I related to in my own life. This one specific quote that talks about the feeling of losing someone close to you to death. In those moments, it felt like I had a gaping hole in my heart. That's what it was like losing someone precious to you. I felt it now in so many different places and in so many different ways. I actually also wrote a little sticky note thing here. I'll read that out to you. So I wrote it in relation to this quote. Sharing your thoughts with someone seems so simple, but at times it can be surprisingly difficult. Even more so when it's someone you care so much for. That's what I thought about as I walked next to him. But if you can find the courage to do it, it will bring you closer together. So what I wrote is, I hope we all find the courage to share our thoughts, the courage to confess, to love, to thrive, and to be us. I hope this courage comes naturally to us, like the sunbeams seeping in through the window right at the crack of dawn. Soft, gentle, yet powerful. Next we have The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. This is a rom-com and it's about Rowan and Zahra. So Rowan is this businessman. This is a part of the Dreamland Billionaire series. So Dreamland is this amusement park and we have, I guess, three brothers, and those three are given some tasks by their grandfather which they have to fulfill to own few parts of the legacy they do. And so this one is about Rowan and Zahra. I am the business of creating fairy tales, production companies, 5-star hotels, theme parks. Everything can be mine if I renovate Dreamland. Hiding Zahra was a great plan until I fell for her. By the time I realized where I went wrong, it was too late. People like me don't get happy endings, not when we are destined to ruin them. So in this book, Rowan is wanting to renovate Dreamland, the amusement park, and he has some few other tasks also given by his grandfather. So he takes Zahra into his team because Zahra is very good at designing, and so while this process continues, they both fall in love. Now the love was kind of not that sparkling because I felt like it did not have the spark which I wanted in these kind of books. It was very like okay. You see, Rowan here used a second personality to become friends with Zahra, and that part I kind of hated because it gave me the panic of, oh my god, when she will know about it, she will freak out and then there will be some misunderstandings, because that's what happens. So those were a few parts where I felt like it did not match the vibe I go for in these kind of books. Also, it was very anticlimactic. I gave it 4 stars, but it did not pass the vibe check. I really actually don't even remember what I have read because of how not so important the plot line was. I love Lauren Asher's books, but this one just did not hit the spot. Next we have Never Lie by Frida McFadden. You guys know I got this for my birthday from my best friend, and let me tell you, this book altered my brain chemistry. Because I am not someone who is very much into thriller kind of books. I am more of a detective girly, and this was probably the first thriller book that I read and finished and liked. I loved this book. My brain exploded when I got to the plot twist part. My brain literally exploded. I was like, wait, what? I gasped is between me and this book. This book is about Tricia and Ethan, married couple, who wants to see this house. And when they reach the house, it's a snowstorm happening. So they get stuck in the house and has no way to get out of it because of the snowstorm. There is no signal, no internet connection, no communication because the house is in the middle of literally a jungle. And so they have to wait for the storm to pass, and then only they can contact their agent who was showing them the house. So while they're waiting there, Tricia has this intense feeling that someone is in the house. So she goes all paranoia, and Ethan is like, calm down, there's no one, I have checked everywhere. But she is so curious about everything that she starts to investigate what are the things in the house. So the house is basically of Dr. Adrian Hale, who was a psychologist, a very good psychologist and therapist, who has been missing for I guess 3 years. And so she gets curious about what happened with her, and so she goes through all the things of Dr. Adrian, and she gets this bunch of cassettes of her therapy sessions. And so Tricia starts listening to them in secret, because she does not want her husband to know, because her husband is kind of someone who doesn't want to stir things up, who doesn't want to snoop around. So she is just hiding in this office room and trying to listen to all those tapes. Through those tapes, she finds out what happened to Adrian. So that is one perspective you get in the book, and the other perspective is of Dr. Adrian, which is basically a past and present perspective. So in one side you are finding out what happened from Tricia's perspective, and in another side you are literally watching how the murder happened. And where both the perspectives converge, there is a plot twist. And I died there, because I was like, this, I never saw that one coming. 10 stars, not even 5. This gets 10 stars. And Frida McFadden, Miss Ma'am, I'm going to buy all your books. Next we have Heaven by Miko Kawakami. This book I guess I read in January or February, and this is something Women in Translation Month, by the way. So this book is about 2 children who are 14-year-olds, I believe. Yeah, 14-year-old boy and her friend and his friend Kojima. So we don't know the name of the protagonist here, the 14-year-old boy, but we know his friend's name, and that is Kojima. So Kojima and our narrator, they both are the victims of bullying in class. The boy has this lazy eye, and the girl, I guess she's bullied for different things, but they both are bullied, and so they become friends because they both are suffering from the same kind of treatment. So it's a friendship based on terror, sadness, and all those kind of things, because no one is their friend, so they become each other's friends, and that might cause issues. So this book is based in Japan's beautiful scenery yet again, and the scenery that is mentioned in the book is very soft. Like, these 2 characters are all dark and pathetic and so full of contrast, but the background you see in this book is all soft. Like, you know, when the morning dawn comes and there is this soft glow everywhere, the background is like that. Wherever they go, they are the contrasting pieces, and everything around them is soft and subtle and not so very bright. So this book is actually, I'll consider an artistic masterpiece, but the plot line was not something I got the hang of the first time. It's an ambiguous ending, and so you can guess what happened, but other than that, the plot was very sad. Like, there were few times I actually felt so mad at both the characters, because they were not fighting back, and they were like quiet while the others bullied them. I guess that's the point, because when you are bullied and you're continuously bullied, there comes a stage where you're just done with it and you just don't want to fight back. So that's one thing. And then we have Kojima. I found Kojima's character a little peculiar, because she has this thing where she doesn't know how to move on, and I felt that thing very bad, because she was actually ruining everyone's life while not being able to move on. So that made me a little what's wrong with you, sister? Anyways, so these characters were very complicated, and they did create certain feelings in me, but overall this book gets a 4 stars for me. The next book we have is Murder in the Mews by Agatha Christie. This is a collection of 4 short stories by Agatha, on Hercule Poirot. The stories were a hit or a miss, I believe. Like, not all of them were good, and I think that's mostly because they were short stories. So Agatha could not create a very complicated web of secrets and like case. So the stories are very predictable. And I found it good, but somehow this did not go up to the mark of how brilliant Agatha's stories are. So I gave this book a 3.5. Next we have A Man Called Ove by Frederick Backman. This book broke me down. I was literally suffocating on my own tears. I gave this book a 5 stars, by the way, because it made me cry. So this book is about Ove, our very old, grumpy, rude gentleman. And he lives on the street and he hates everyone. And I mean everyone, even the cat that loiters in his garden. So the only person he ever loved was his wife, Sonja. And then Sonja dies of old age. So now he is alone and he has no job and he just stays at his house all day. And he is very particular about what are the things he does. Like, he wakes in the morning, does this at this time, does that at that time. Like, his timetable is very, very strict and fixed, and he will do all the things every morning. Not a single day he will do it differently. So in this story, Ove wants to die, but because his wife is no more and so he has no point living this life, so he plans his suicide. Like, he takes care of his house, does all the household work, writes down the instructions how to maintain his house and his car, and then he wants to die. He wears his best suit because when he goes to heaven he will meet his wife. So, he's very particular about everything, and that's the reason he could not die. Every time he wants to commit suicide, something comes and he does not die. So that makes him even more grumpy. And his neighbors wants to take care of him. They want to make him crack open and let them in. So that's how the plot goes on and on. So this book is basically Ove trying to find himself after such a tragic event, and his neighbors help him find that person that he thought he never had in him. And there are obviously many pretty quotes in this book. The one that is extremely famous is, "He was a man of black and white, and she was the color, all the color he had." This is something Ove used to say. But there is this one particular quote that is from Sonja's side, and I find that quote very beautiful. So let me say. "But to Sonja, Ove was never dour and awkward and sharp-edged. To her, he was the slightly disheveled pink flowers at their first dinner. He was his father's slightly too tight-fitting brown suit across his broad, sad shoulders. Maybe he didn't write her poems or serenade her with songs or come home with expensive gifts, but no other boy had gone the wrong way on the train for hours every day just because he liked sitting next to her while she spoke." So you see, Sonja's friends used to make fun of her because he is dating and marrying Ove, because Ove was very particular and very strict and not like, chill about anything. But Sonja found Ove intriguing because Ove was extremely kind, and that's the part of Ove that only Sonja saw. I cried. Every time I think about this book, I cry, because this is such a beautiful, happy, sad, bittersweet, every feeling is in this book, because you know what's going to happen and you still let it happen. And that's the part where what breaks me. 5 stars. I would sell my soul to reread this book for the first time again, honestly. Next we have Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher. I'm going to prove you guys that I love Lauren Asher because this book is a masterpiece. This is from the Lakefront Billionaire series, and so we have Love Redesigned and then Love Unwritten. Both books my favorite. Awesome books. Great plot line. I love these books. So this is about Raphael and Ellie. Raphael is a single father and he has a son, Nico. So Raphael takes Ellie into his house for babysitting and for teaching his son music, because Ellie is a musician and Ellie has recently lost her job in a big city because she was scammed by one of her closest friends while she was making music, and all her music basically got stolen. And so now she's back in town and she has no job. So Raphael is kind enough to take her in his house and give her a job. Now they go on a vacation because Nico wants to go on a vacation, and in this vacation they start liking each other. Very straightforward type of romance. I liked it because there was no drama, and in some cases, like the both of the like the in single dad romances, both of them are a little bit issues with them because they both are like, no, I can never do that. And also in boss worker romances there is a little bit of, oh no, I can never do that. But here we don't have that because Raphael is a very kind man and he is wanting to help Ellie. So like that, this story is very good. Also, did I say you that Ellie had a high school crush on Raphael, and now she again has a crush on Raphael, so that's very cute. I really like this book, and this book was adorable. I loved redesigned, and this one is also a 5-star read for me. Next we have Five Little Pigs by Agatha Christie, and this one is a 5-star. The plot, chef's kiss. The plot twist, chef kiss. The characters, instantly I hated all of them. And Hercule Poirot, immaculate. So this book is about beautiful Caroline Crale was convicted of poisoning her husband. But just like the nursery rhyme, there were 5 other little pigs who could have done it. Philip Blake, who went to the market, Meredith Black, who stayed at home, Elsa Greer, who had her roast beef, Cecilia Williams, who had none, and Angela Warren, who cried all the way home. 16 years later, Caroline's daughter is determined to prove her mother's innocence, and Poirot just can't get the nursery rhyme out of his mind. So we have Caroline Crale, who is the mother of our female protagonist, and so she is convicted of murder, as you saw. And now Poirot has to solve the case which happened 16 years ago. So all the evidences have been messed up with because it has been 16 years, and so now he basically has to weave back the case by talking to only the 5 other suspects that were in the case. It sounds similar to Elephants Can Remember, but in Elephants Can Remember I found the plot a little superficial because how can all the evidences be found so easily? That one felt a little superficial to me, but this one slayed that part. This was not superficial because there were real people, real suspects who could have done it. And what Poirot does is ask them to write what happened on the day of the murder in their perspectives. So then he matches up the perspectives and finds the murderer. Brilliant. Fantastic. So this book gets a 5-star from me. These were all the physical books I read this year up till now, and now we have the e-books. The first one is Reconciling with the Rival by Emily Tudor. I got the ARC copy of it to review. So this book is about Ella and Leo, and they both are sore enemies. Now Leo is Ella's best friend's brother. So they have known each other their entire life and still hate each other. So Ella thinks that Leo is very rude and is trying to take every opportunity that she has ever had. So now when Leo shifts and goes to her office, she is mad. So we have office romance. We have enemies with benefits. That's something I never read but loved somehow in this book. And so obviously we have enemies to lovers. Very, very, very high level of steamy romance. And Emily Tudor never misses the spot. Awesome writer. I love her. The next book I read was also by Emily Tudor, and that is Rewriting the Story. Now this is a second chance romance, and personally I don't really like second chance romances because I feel like sometimes the reason is too bad, and I feel like there is no way they both are again becoming lovers. But this one was very sad It's about Henry and Amelia, and Amelia has broken Henry's heart once, and now she's again back in town because she wants to fix everything. But Henry is very scared to again break his heart, and he is maintaining the distance. They both meet each other at one of their friends' weddings, and that they have to rewrite their story. So Henry is a book writer, like an author, and Amelia thought she had her whole life settled when she went abroad, but she did not. She went through a lot of mental problems, and she realized that she has ADHD. So now that she has recovered, taken therapy, she wants to come back and become friends with all of her friends. So these two books are actually part of the Grand Mountain series, and there are many characters, and they all used to be friends when they used to go to Grand Mountain University. And so now Amelia blocked everyone and went to a different city. But then she realized that some of her reactions were because she had ADHD. So now she's back in town and trying to be a good friend, a good sister, a good daughter, and a good lover again. So these are, okay. I have only one hand right now. So these are all the books and the ebooks I read this year up till now, and I feel like most of them were 5-star reads for me, which I really liked, because normally when I read a bad book, my entire mood just gets ruined and I can't take up any other book, which happened when I was reading How to Stop Time by Matt Haig. I really thought I would love that book, but the thing was very slow for me, so I went into a reading slump, and then I had to pick up, I guess, Murder in the Muse. Then I picked up Murder in the Muse, and I was fine again. So overall, these were very successful reads. We have still many more months left and many more books to read. I even got one more for Raksha Bandhan. Slay. So I'll update you guys again when I have finished more books. Till then, goodbye. Go read a book, hydrate yourself, and I will meet you guys in the next video. Bye.